Alrighty, good afternoon, Soul Fam. I hope you're all okay. I am your host for today's episode. My name is Akim Arch, and today in our safe space we have Matthew Wright, a communication studies major at Northern Caribbean University, is here to share his story from a freshman's perspective. But before Matthew comes, we will just check in with Mitzi Morgan for a few minutes. Good afternoon to you, Mitzi. How are you? Thank you for joining the show.
Good afternoon. I'm doing good. And how is yourself? You look like you want a little water or something. You look like you want a little refreshment.
I am doing well, thank you. And yes, I do. I might need some water. But Mitzi, which university are you going and what are you studying?
Well, at the moment, that's a very tricky question. I attended CTC, but I did a year and a half.
Mhm.
So I'm changing career paths. I'm changing from teaching because I was doing the major in maths. So
Mhm.
I am going. So sorry, I just got a message and it's a joke. I cannot share it with you though, Akim. I'm sorry.
Okay, no
So
problem.
I'm transitioning into IT. So currently I'm working to go and hopefully I'll get through to go into that school.
Okay, so you said you changed from maths into IT, I'm guessing information technology.
Yes.
So why did you decide to do that program instead of math?
Well, firstly, I love maths. All right. It's not that I hate maths. It's just a case that teaching is something I don't see myself doing. I not because the money or something. It's a factor. It is a factor, but it's just a case I've done experience because I volunteered to do teaching jobs, and I'm like, no, Mitzi, this ain't for me. And then recalling back from 5 years ago when I was doing IT, I had that thrill where my program wasn't running, but then when it ran, it's like that achievement, and you can actually use it to improve others' life, and you know so that's the course that I've taken so far with thinking. It's still a work in process. They say that I'm young. I don't believe it, but sure. But yes, that would lead to my transitioning from maths to IT.
Okay. So you said that you attended CTC for a year at Church Teachers College. What was your fondest memory attending CTC?
Wow, there's a lot. um, there is a lot. I've met some good persons. Mostly it wouldn't be doing work, it would be like extracurricular activities. So one of which would be volleyball. Right? I love badminton. They didn't have any, but someone was like, "Yo, try out volleyball." And I was like, "Fine." Although I have two left foot, two left hand. Why not? And I've met some great persons there. I remember I was playing and I was the only girl. And they have to just stand up and just everybody's like, protect me. And I'm like, fine, I have no problem with that. And those would be like nightly matches that we would have, just to get off that stress, playing sport, exercising, keeping in shape. And I put that into quotation, but you get what I mean. Being around people sometimes because you don't want it to be suffocating.
Okay. Well, you said you have a lot. Thank you for sharing one. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you for coming on this afternoon.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. So, as I've said before, our guest for today is Matthew Wright, a communication studies major at Northern Caribbean University, and he's here to share his story from a freshman's perspective. So, good afternoon to you, Matthew. How are you doing this afternoon?
Pleasant afternoon, my good sir, my brother, my friend. It is it's a bright and sunny day here in Brooklyn, New York, and that's just representation of how I'm feeling inside on my shirt. Nice and colorful. So I'm doing very, very well. Thank you for asking. And yeah, I'll watch you smile. It look like your bread is buttered on both sides as well.
Well, I believe Mitzi said I need some water, so might as well. So, Matthew, we know that you are going to university, NCU, and you're doing communication studies. So why did you choose NCU to complete your tertiary learning?
Okay, all right. So so that choice, it dates back to years like 2004, like that far. Because
2004.
yes, so I grew up in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I'm still a part of it, so I don't know why I say grew up in, but yeah, I'm still a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always active in that church.
Mm-hmm.
And by active, I mean I'm always on the platform. I'm always giving speeches. I'm taking part in drama. There was a point in time where I was in a quartet and whatever. Yeah, I'm always up there in the public eye, presenting something. And from those days, a long time ago, I can remember very, very keenly some people walking out. Those ladies that sit down at the front of the church with the big, awning on head. Yeah. They came to my mom and they were like, say, this young man, he's going to end up at NCU doing communications. And it is so strange that that God has set things in a way where it's just all right, this is where you're meant to be, and all opportunities. It just stayed with NCU. So I think it was just God's will that made me have to choose NCU. I didn't settle still, it's still the best. It's still the best place ever, but yeah, I just give glory to God and in regards to that choice. NCU, if it was NCU, it would be sit at home doing nothing, honestly.
Well, I second that. But anyways, why communication studies?
Okay, so for communications, as I mentioned, I'm always presenting, I'm always doing public speaking. I ended up developing a natural talent for public speaking and presenting. When I get into presentation mode, you would never tell that I am socially awkward in person. So seeing that I have that natural aptitude, why not use it to gain some altitude? So communications was the best place for me. Worse, I also have a little knack in the IT perspective. So me and Mitzi and I are like twinsies a bit. So I have a little bit of skill in the IT, and with media and communication, it's a mixture of both public speaking and IT. So it's just perfect.
It's right. It's just perfect. So, you're at NCU doing media and communications. We're backtracking to high school now. In what way did high school prepare you for university?
Okay. High school. Okay. The only thing I can think of is one lesson that high school taught me that I take into university. It wasn't the book work. It was these two words: get involved.
That's right.
When I was in high school, let's just say at graduation, I was one of the people where they call me name to collect my paper. Nobody clapped. So I don't feel no way about it still. That's not it's my fault. But yeah, I was one of those guys I never did anything. I didn't get involved. And when you're going into the field of communications, you have to be nosy.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, going into any formal institution, whether it's primary, high school, tertiary, you have to be nosy. You have to get involved in what you're doing, because you will gain skills that you wouldn't have gained if you didn't put yourself there, or you wouldn't have figured yourself out. You wouldn't have brought yourself closer to self-actualization. And because I didn't do anything while I was at high school, and I was like, okay, this time I'm going into university is going to be different. Worse, how I'm going to be in a field where I have to be in the public eye.
That's
and
right.
If I don't have certain people skills, because even if you don't get involved, how are you going to build a network? And in this day and age, you have to have a network in order to work. So
That's right.
so high school taught me to get involved. Whatever is going on in your institution or your place of work, get involved in the activities that are going on. You will never know what opportunities will present themselves when the superiors see you as an active member in that system. So that's the one thing, well, the biggest thing high school taught me.
Right. You have to be involved for real, especially in media. So Matthew, you're doing what you love, communication studies, and you said that high school taught you to get involved. Now that you are at university, how is life now as opposed to high school?
Oh, well, I would say that it was a huge paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I think it was for everyone because we had to go into this online thingamajigger. But either way, it was still a big paradigm shift because nobody running behind you unless they like you that much. But nobody's running behind you. You are basically on your own. And that was the main difference. Ain't nobody running you down for anything. You are responsible for your own education. It was the same then in high school, but in university is a total different ball game. And this is where you would put, and this is where you would, it just slipped me. I don't know how it happened, but it just slipped me. But how do I put it? This is where you would employ your value of self. That's how I would put it. Here, I had to employ and build a whole lot of value of self. Because if you don't value yourself and your education and the people who made the sacrifices so you can have the opportunity to get that education, you're gonna fail. And failing don't feel nice.
No.
It don't feel nice. Honestly. So I had to employ value of self to put in the work and manage my time so that I can get these A's and B's. As hard as the A's are to get, I forget them.
That's right. Them I forget.
Exactly. And it is such, and even though it was a paradigm shift, it was a shift in the positive direction because just like university, in the working world, no matter what field it is, ain't nobody chasing behind you. And it is so much easier for you to get kicked out of the industry than to get kicked out of university. So
definitely.
So I know that it's not for everybody, but I just wish everyone could be a part of university before going into the working world or some form of tertiary institution to get a feel of, the pressures that come with it. Because those pressures, you rarely see it in high school, and that's only when the teacher isn't passionate. And nowadays, with these Gen Z children, all the teachers are passionate. Yeah? So
Matthew, go ahead.
I was just finishing. You can go ahead.
Okay. So you said that the transition from high school to university was a big paradigm shift, I believe. So after learning what the university life is like, you started managing your time well and you started to value yourself. What other ways did you adjust to the university life?
Okay. No, I'm not going to say that I adjusted because I am still adjusting. And it's going to be a huge adjustment in the coming semester because now we are restarting face-to-face classes. So I wouldn't say I've had the true university experience yet. Not until me shack up in a little room. I'd have to be responsible for my own meals every single day and doing this and doing that. Not until I am at home, away from home. So I wouldn't say that I've had the true university experience yet. But outside of that, even in the online workspace,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a lot of work, and it is it's a lot of work, and I just say it's positive, honestly. If I'm being honest with you, I forgot a little piece of the question they asked, you know. I'm a
That is
person who,
Matthew. That is the Matthew I know. He will talk and he will talk and he will talk. I mean, you're doing communications for a reason.
yes, I am going to get paid to talk.
Right, definitely. So thus far, Matthew, what are some of the good memories you have had since you began?
All right. First, okay, my very, very, very first semester at NCU.
Mm-hmm.
We're all new to the whole system of university, and where you have to choose your own courses all the way and everything. And my first semester, and we were to, and then we were told, oh, we have advisors, they can help you choose. And I was like, Miss, just give me some course, and yeah, just so I can get a feel of it, what it's like. So so my advisor decided to drop fundamentals of nutrition in the mix. I am a person who did public speaking
Mm-hmm.
and IT. I know nothing about nutrition. And it just so happened that in that class, a whole lot of communications majors were in that class.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And we were all strong. It was a very difficult class. And I think that was the class. If it wasn't that it was freshman sem, but that was the class I made the most friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were all struggling and we all banded together because we're like, okay, we are all on the same team. We might not all be doing the same thing, but we are on the same team. So anybody, this and that or whatever, if you're weak here and I'm strong here, just shout me.
That's
and
right.
It was like that. Everybody just had
That's the
the
spirit, man.
same mentality. I wish every class had that, honestly. But
You won't get it everywhere.
it won't be everywhere. But that was just a major highlight of university for me. It's just how it was so different than high school. Because in high school, everybody is out there for themselves. Unless you have like a little crew who say, okay, you know, in university, we all came together and say, okay, we're all on the same team. Let's work to reach this goal. And thanks be to God, we reached that goal. May not have been the big A, no, but the GPA go up. So
It sure did.
so that was a highlight for me.
Mm-hmm. So you said that your first year you did online learning, and this semester you're going face to face. Are you sure you're going to face? Because the producer is asking which university you attend.
Well, some of my classes, Miss Producer, are going to be mixed.
Let me not give myself any trouble this afternoon. We're moving on. So just now you spoke about some of the good memories that you have had since you started NCU.
Right.
What are some of the bad ones, if you have any?
Okay. I wouldn't say some. I would say just one.
Mm-hmm.
I would say just one. It was my first all-nighter. I never grew up as one of those kids who study all night through or set an alarm, wake up 3:30 a.m. and stuff. I was never that person. So once it past 10 o'clock, that's it for me. So I blame my parents for that because they're all like, early to bed, early to rise, make a man healthy, wealthy, and right. Yeah, well, now it's hard to pull an all-nighter. But it was my first all-nighter. We were doing principles of psychology, and it was a group work. And you know, every group has to have one of those people.
I get that.
Your job harder.
Yeah,
I was group leader.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the topic was we were supposed to present on on the human mind and sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't spend much time in leadership positions, but I think I did well because I delegated. Okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, and I put things together. And that one individual took 3 million years to send in her information. Mm-hmm. She waited until the 9th hour, like the day before. And I was like, okay, at least she sent it in. Let me review. And then just stitch everything together. Well, it was a good thing I reviewed, Akeem, because when we say humans and sexuality, mm-hmm. the things that she described in her findings, I cannot describe in this G-rated show that you're keeping. Mm-hmm. And NCU is a relatively rated PG school. So
right,
so like I came under heavy anxiety and I decided, okay, I'm not gonna call down on this person because mm-hmm. I can't be upset with someone who didn't understand the assignment. Mm-hmm. So I ended up having to do her research for her, and it was a whole lot of stuff. And I ended up spending the entire night mm-hmm. searching, referencing, stitching together all manner of things for 9:30 a.m. and it's us first.
Man, that's a lot of work. So going through that experience of that all-nighter, what did that taught you?
Okay. Well, what did that teach me? I did learn something about myself that mm-hmm. once I set my mind to something that I am going to, I never knew that about myself. And I think that's something that everyone has, where you have an ability or a skill that you don't know you have until the pressure reach you and you know so you can't make the pressure bust your pipe. So
iron pipe. I don't even remember the episode where you said iron pipe. You have to have the iron pipe.
You have to have the iron pipe.
And sometimes iron pipe pull out,
Mm-hmm. That's why you have to weld it every now and again.
Go ahead with what you were saying.
Yes. So I learned about myself that once the pressure reaches, I am not going to crack. And I give God thanks for that.
Indeed.
That
so, yes,
mm-hmm. I was able to keep a cool head, not be upset with the person, but just get the job done. And we ended up getting an A-. So to God be the glory. So mm-hmm. I would just look at it to say everyone has that trait within themselves. It may not be being able to keep a cool head or whatever, but everyone has a skill or something special about them that they don't know yet. So for those of you who are watching and you think, oh, I'm not special about me, just you wait. Just you wait. You soon get your all-nighter. I'm just calling it an all-nighter, but you soon get yours, and you will just see how capable mm-hmm. and valuable you are to yourself and others.
Indeed. So, Matthew, I can remember this experience of freshman Soul to Soul when we were doing hosting duties, and it so happened that we planned to go in studio
right.
to do a live. But then things happen, unexpected things do happen, and it caused us to, shift a little bit.
A little bit?
Well, not a little bit, but how was this experience for you?
So, freshman Soul to Soul, this was my first big budget. Mm-hmm. I don't know when I say budget, but it was my first big production. First time I'm hosting a program, and as you said, we had to change studios. Where imagine the team worked so hard
Right, graphic design, set design. I mean,
with the set design just to go back on set. Did we even end up on set? I don't remember if we even went back in. But see that we had to take out all props on the stage and then walk 3 million miles and set it back up in a classroom. It was actually a great experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I realized that, well, I guess it was a day where I got to network a lot. I met some fantastic individuals. And I call them my people. I call you my people.
My people, honestly. My people.
Yes, honestly. It was a day where we all came together and we overcame a huge obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
A huge obstacle. It wasn't even supposed to happen, but we overcame and we did a fantastic job. And then another highlight of it was a word was added to everyone's vocabulary. Here we are, and for those who know me,
knows that your vocabulary is huge.
There was a word that was added to everyone's vocabulary. That word is wonderfulicious.
Wonderfulicious indeed.
And let me tell you, it was a wonderfulicious day after we overcame that. And then even the chair of the department, she had to commend us as freshmen.
Right, for sticking it out. Mm-hmm.
Man, I felt so soft that the boss, who the day before didn't know I existed, just loves me now because of that one day. And that will be a day I'll always treasure because I love the boss.
And the boss loves you.
Man, she loves everybody.
Right. And we have to big up Quenise Johnson, who was also there, and Matthew Thomas. Big up to you guys. We all did an amazing job with that experience, I tell you. So, Matthew, aside from learning to get your bachelor's, your degree, what other things are you learning along the way?
All right. So, I am a creative person. Other than learning to properly speak for a living, I dabble in graphic design. Mm-hmm. I've been doing that since 2017, but since coming to MCU, my skills have I met up with a good amount of people who do a few designs, and I ended up having to do a couple of designs for MCU, and I noticed that each time I designed for school, each one was better than the last. But I don't just do graphic design. NCU has also helped me to venture, or at least I was planning to venture into it anyway, but it helped me dive head first because I was nervous. I know I wasn't nervous. I know it's something that I'm getting good at, and that's video editing as well. And now with the upcoming semester, I am also gonna venture into photography. So
look at that.
Yeah, it's a lot. And DCS is what helped me gain that confidence to say, okay, I have the ability to do these things. And these are all things that are going to be beneficial, not just to me, but to other people.
That's right.
You see DCS at NCU, it helps you to be as versatile as best dressed chicken.
Ah!
Honestly.
Versatile as best dressed chicken. So, Matthew, you said that, NC is versatile as best dressed chicken. And since you have been there, you started to venture into things a little bit more. But school was online. And I know you touched on it a little bit. but how was it for you? How was the online learning for you?
One word that described online learning for me. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. Like, as I mentioned earlier, I am socially awkward in person. And I know that if it weren't for online, a lot of the opportunities that I have gotten, I wouldn't have gotten them. Because for me, it takes a whole heap of mental preparation just to walk up to somebody and say, hey, I can do this and I can do that. Usually people have to discover that on me. And online has helped me gain confidence in building my people skills. It's different. The people aren't there, but you have to communicate and come together to complete your goals. And it helped me to, come forward to people. Because even with getting into freshman soul to soul, it was because, look at the lesson coming back. I got nosy. I got involved.
Involved, man.
Our PR lecturer, she was just saying, okay, she would like a volunteer for something. And before I could even hear what it was, I don't know what I'm volunteering for, but I said, miss, sign me up. And it just so happened that she needed a chaplain. For online. Every day. Well, either that or I choose someone. And I took it up because me done run up and play a hero already, so me can't, and it helped me to get into Freshman Soul to Soul as a host. And I would just like to look at it to say, if it weren't for online, like the circumstances that brought everyone to going online, they were quite grim, but it was also a blessing.
Yes, indeed. It was a blessing, and you are gaining a lot of opportunities. You hosted Freshman Soul to Soul. You are now doing graphic designing for the department, among other opportunities. Now I'm going to ask you, what are some of those other opportunities?
All right. So because of Freshman Soul to Soul's success, it led to another huge event that I had to travel a far way to be on campus to be a part of, and that would have been DCS Week of Excellence 2022. Now, I was a host for the very first event within the week, and that would have been the church service. I was with a behemoth I was accompanied by a behemoth in the industry. I'm gonna say she's a behemoth. She's not one yet broadly, but she's going to be, and she is one when it comes down to radio production because she's on the radio all the time. I was with Sinokia Hibbert. She was my guide and my co-host, and it was an amazing experience. I hosted a huge program. Everything was successful, and because now the chair of NCU, she noticed that, okay, this guy isn't just good at public speaking, he can design as well. So even after hosting the church service for like a couple of other programs within the Week of Excellence, I had to design posters and thumbnails for that. And then after that came a faculty member who has never taught me before, but she just heard about me. She just found out I existed somewhere, and that's why it's good to get involved. She just knew I existed. Yeah, exactly. And she just knew I existed. And she sent me a message, and she was like, okay, I would like for you to design a certificate for a program that's being kept on Sunday, the upcoming Sunday. Man, I'm not turning that down, you know. It was the first time I ever designed a certificate. And let's just say it was well received, and all of that come together to know I am now a part of the team for DCS social media. Well, the social media team 2022. I am one of the designers, and I've started work already as a designer, but trust me, there is more to come throughout the year. And even another opportunity, Akeem, that many may not know, would have been Soulful Sunday.
Oh, look at that.
I am the guy who I design the thumbnails every week. I designed the logo. I was the guy who made the intro. I was the guy who did the credits. Yeah, I'm that guy.
And he's the one doing the YouTube videos. Let me tell you, Matthew is doing an awesome job when it comes on to graphic designing. All these what we would call them in media, these montage and these come Matthew, what's the word I'm looking for?
And the lower thirds and captions where necessary.
But the word is not coming, so I'll leave it alone.
And all the stitching up, and I have to stitch up on the audio fixing and this and that and everything under the sun.
It's Matthew behind it, and he's doing an awesome job. And the Soulful Sunday team congratulates you, Matthew. And we thank you. We can't thank you enough for doing such an awesome job. So, having completed first year and moving into second year, what are your goals and accomplishments for the upcoming academic year?
All right. So, my goal is to build a bigger network. And I have no doubt that it's gonna happen. I've already met some amazing, need to find a word out of my dictionary now.
Wonderfully oceans.
I have already met some wonderfully oceans people. And my goal is to meet more. I want to be involved. I want to be more involved within NCU. I want, and because I'm getting involved and being able to network and being with veterans in the industry, my skills would have increased tenfold with each link in the network. So, and then having a network will provide opportunities, not just for me, but for my peers. So that's actually my goal. And also to pass this schoolwork.
Listen.
Because it's rough in the garrison for the university student.
Me tell you, man.
Honestly, so those are my goals. I want to build a network. I want to build a network so I can gain opportunities for both myself and my peers. I also want to increase my skills in the different I'm gonna just say subgenres that I'm embarking in. I want to be as versatile as the best dressed chicken. And I want to make sure I have a good academic record this upcoming semester so that I can be closer to the piece of paper that is going to bring me through the industry.
Right, the piece of paper, as you call it. We thank you, Matthew. I'm afraid to say we're out of questions or no. So it is said that university can either make you or it can break you. Thus far, attending university, what has changed about you?
What has changed? Well, one thing that has changed. I've become a more confident individual. Now, I do not fear meeting new people. That's just a part of putting myself in an environment where I am around good people. I have gained the ability to place myself in good company. And that is something, as much as university will make or break, trust me, the company you make or the company you keep yourself in, that is also a huge factor in making or breaking you. Or it's one thing that dictates your tenure throughout any chapter of life. And I'm happy to say that I'm doing a good job. I mean, I'm with you guys, so so that's one thing that has changed. Now I choose my company wisely because I understand the importance of the company you choose to keep.
Awesome. A nice way to end the show. Be careful of the company you keep. And I trust that you are having an amazing time at NCU, Matthew, being in the best department. I'm always not saying bias when it comes on to DCS, but it is literally the best.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it bias if it were facting.
It is the best. DCS the best. No other. Right. So Matthew Wright, a communication studies major at Northern Caribbean University. We thank you, Matthew, for coming on this afternoon and for sharing your freshman's perspective of university. But before I let you go, Mr. Wright, are there any questions? Viewers, that is, are there any questions for Matthew? If you do, go right ahead.
Absolutely. Hi, Matthew.
I
It's a pleasure hearing from you, and your story is both inspiring and another word, I don't remember it as yet, but as soon as I remember it, I'll probably say it. But a question, right? As you heard before, I've transitioned from one career path to another, right? So there are people out there, younger students, who are having it hard to find their passion. I cannot advise them because I don't know what mine is. So how would you say someone should find their passion? Or, because what if it's a case where they don't know what they love? Like, what do you suggest based on your experience so far on how they can get to the road of finding out what it is they love to do or what they can do in the meanwhile? If, just to ponder on that.
Yes. So finding your passion. This was, okay, thank you for the question, Mitzi. This was something that I myself had to do because just because I was good at public speaking, it didn't necessarily mean that I would want to do it. But this is something I advise people to do if you don't know. Look at your hobbies. Everyone has hobbies. Even if it's sitting on YouTube all day, every day, what are the things you choose to watch? Whatever has your interest, you look into it, see where you can make a career out of it. And then I also advise individuals to try new things. Always try new things. Try to do something that you're afraid of or that you think, because nothing hurts with trying. Because I always say that it's better to try and fail than to not try at all and then say, oh, what if me did, Trust me, it hurt more. But those are the things I advise people to do. Look at your hobbies. So as an example, I'll use myself. For me, I always used to love to draw all kind of doodles and stuff. If you go through my elementary school books, every single page is some cartoon being drawn. And then when it came to high school and doing SBAs and such, I came to realize that, okay, I am actually getting good at the computer. Because you can also look at that, where you find yourself being, okay, I'm actually good at using this or doing that. Because everyone is good at something. You just have to put yourself out there in order to find out what it is. So when I was doing visual arts in CSEC, it just so happened that it was the first year where we had the opportunity to use graphic design as a form of art within the subject. I've never done it before. And then also the company part come back again because I had a friend that was doing it for a couple of years already in my class. And he was doing it. I was like, okay, some more fun, brother. I was like, I use computers too. And that's where I got some software and then I start do this and I start do that. And then, one thing lead to another. Here I am doing what I do. And I just look at it like, okay, I was a guy who I liked computers. I had a knack for computers and I have a creative background. So it would be looking into yourself, what you like to do, what your hobbies are, and building something from it. Because even if it's as much as watching people pull pranks on each other on YouTube, you can use that pastime to inspire you to become a content creator yourself. Or even bigger than a content creator, you can end up reporting for the news or even hosting the Oscars. Everybody have the potential to do that. So that would be the answer to the question.
Thank you.
You're very much welcome. Hopefully it makes sense.
It does.
Right, hopefully it does. And one thing with Matthew, people, when you ask him a question, he's always going to bring the answer back to media. Again, we want to thank you, Matthew, for coming on and for sharing your freshman's perspective of university. And from the Soulful Sunday team, we say a big thank you to you for doing an awesome job. And thank you for being dedicated to this production.
Well, thank you very much. You're all very welcome. It was a pleasure and a learning experience, and I can't wait to do more things with y'all.
Awesome. All righty. Let us move to our affirmation. Producer, you may go right ahead. All right. So it is said that university can either make you or it can break you. But in all honesty, I believe it does both. University is certainly not a bed of roses, especially now that things are online. Though some might say the online learning gives easier access to information and it makes us have classes in the comfort of our homes, our social battery is draining. University is the place where we really look at life and we realize that we are just a step closer to achieving our educational dreams. In achieving those dreams, however, it is not always dandy shandy. It gets hard, rocky, and sometimes we feel like to just throw in the towel and give up. And many times when we're going through these phases, we always wonder questions. Why are we in university? Is all this necessary? Does it make sense? But then when we think about the profession and the position that we want, we realize that university is the only legal way we can get that job and that position. University allows us to meet new friends that will last for a lifetime, likewise teaching us lifelong lessons. So today, on this episode of Soulful Sunday, that Matthew shared his freshman perspective on, I am affirming that my ability in being a great student is rested only on me. And if I can, then I will, because I'm destined to be great. That is it for our show today. Again, I want to thank Matthew Wright for sharing his story with us this afternoon. For viewers, thank you all for always tuning in. For sponsors, Purple Archaeologists, for Line Pharmacy and Decimate Charity, we thank you for helping us share these stories. My production team, a big thank you to you all for always being dedicated to this production. Join us again next week unfortunately, for our season finale. Until then, I am your host, Akim Ort. Continue to stay safe and be blessed.